Have you ever looked at your plate and honestly believed you were doing everything right? Less fast food, more vegetables, more healthy choices, and yet you still wake up exhausted, swollen, foggy, or strangely drained for no clear reason? What if I told you that some of the foods Americans trust the most, the very foods labeled as heart healthy, natural, or even doctor recommended, may be silently damaging one of the most important organs keeping you alive right now, your kidneys? I'm Dr. Ethan Caldwell, and after years of working with patients suffering from kidney disease, I can tell you something terrifying that almost nobody talks about. Most people lose nearly 80 to 90% of their kidney function before they ever feel a single serious symptom. No sharp pain, no dramatic warning, just a slow, silent decline happening quietly in the background while everyday meals continue pushing the damage further and further. And here's the part that shocks people the most. The worst offenders are not always burgers, fries, or soda. Sometimes it's the food sitting in your refrigerator right now wearing a disguise of health. Foods you've probably eaten your entire life believing they were helping your body, while your kidneys have been struggling to survive under the pressure. I've seen patients walk into the emergency room confused, frightened, unable to understand how their potassium levels suddenly became dangerous enough to affect their heart. I've watched good people, disciplined people, discover that the healthy habits they were proud of had been silently exhausting their kidneys for years. And once kidney damage reaches a certain point, reversing it becomes incredibly difficult. But this video is not here to scare you without giving you answers. Because today, I'm going to show you which common vegetables may quietly overload and damage your kidneys, and which ones can actually help protect, support, and even restore them naturally. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what deserves a place on your plate and what may be slowly putting your health at risk every single day. And trust me, some of the foods on this list are going to surprise you. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is assuming that anything homemade automatically means healthy. And honestly, that belief has quietly damaged more kidneys than most people realize. I'm talking about tomato sauce, the rich pasta sauce sitting in millions of American kitchens right now, often labeled as heart healthy, natural, or better than processed food. The problem is not the fresh tomato itself. A sliced tomato in a salad is usually harmless. The danger begins when tomatoes are concentrated into paste, sauce, or soup because the potassium levels become extremely high without people noticing it. I once treated a 58-year-old man named Richard who prided himself on eating clean. Every Sunday he made homemade spaghetti sauce from scratch using tomato paste, olive oil, garlic, and herbs. No fast food, no soda, no smoking. He thought he was protecting his health. But one evening, after feeling weak, dizzy, and strangely short of breath, he ended up in the emergency room. His potassium levels had climbed high enough to interfere with the electrical rhythm of his heart. And the terrifying part was, he never saw it coming. Here's what most people don't realize. Just 1 cup of tomato sauce can contain close to 900 milligrams of potassium. When kidney function begins slowing down, even slightly, that excess potassium starts building up silently in the bloodstream. At first, you may only feel tired or mentally foggy, but over time, it can place enormous strain on the heart and kidneys without any dramatic warning signs. The good news is you don't have to fear tomatoes forever. Small changes matter. Fresh tomatoes are usually safer than concentrated sauces, and simple swaps like roasted red peppers or herb-based sauces can dramatically reduce the pressure on your kidneys. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next food is even more dangerous precisely because it feels so comforting and harmless to almost everyone. And that's exactly what makes the next food so dangerous. Unlike tomato sauce, this one doesn't feel unhealthy at all. It feels warm, familiar, comforting. For many Americans, it's been sitting on the dinner table since childhood. I'm talking about potatoes. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, sweet potato casserole, foods people associate with home, family, and safety. But for struggling kidneys, that comfort can quietly become a serious burden. A few years ago, I met a 63-year-old woman named Linda who thought she had finally cleaned up her diet. She had cut out soda, fried food, and processed snacks. But every evening, she still loaded her plate with mashed potatoes because, in her mind, homemade meant healthy. Then one night after a family gathering, she started feeling unusually weak. Her legs felt heavy. Her heartbeat became irregular. By the time she reached the ER, her potassium levels were dangerously high, and doctors warned her she was close to a life-threatening cardiac event. What shocks most people is the science behind it. A single medium baked potato can contain over 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Sweet potatoes can contain even more. Healthy kidneys normally remove excess potassium without a problem. But when kidney function begins declining, even slightly, potassium starts accumulating silently in the blood, like pressure building behind a cracked dam. At first, it may only cause fatigue, brain fog, or muscle weakness. But eventually, it can disrupt the heart's electrical system with almost no warning. The good news is you don't necessarily have to eliminate potatoes forever. Preparation changes everything. Peeling, soaking, and boiling potatoes can significantly reduce potassium levels, and smaller portions can make a major difference. But honestly, knowing this still isn't enough, because the next health food is even more deceptive. Millions of people drink it every morning believing it's detoxifying their body, while it may actually be damaging their kidneys from the inside out. And this is where things become even more alarming, because the next food isn't just popular, it's praised as a superfood all over social media. Fitness influencers promote it. Detox programs recommend it. Health-conscious Americans drink it every morning believing they're cleansing their bodies and boosting their energy. I'm talking about beet juice. And for weakened kidneys, it can quietly become a disaster, hiding behind the image of perfect health. I remember a patient named Marcus, a 52-year-old man who became obsessed with green juices and detox smoothies after trying to improve his blood pressure naturally. Every morning he blended beet juice with spinach and berries because he believed it was healing his body. At first he felt energized, but after several weeks he began experiencing sharp fatigue, lower back discomfort, and swelling in his legs. When his lab work finally came back, his kidney function had dropped dramatically. The diagnosis shocked him: oxalate-related kidney injury triggered by excessive beet consumption. Here's the part most people never hear. Beets are extremely high in oxalates, natural compounds that can form tiny crystal-like deposits inside the kidneys. Over time, those crystals can irritate and damage delicate kidney tissue, especially in people already dealing with diabetes, high blood pressure, or early kidney decline. On top of that, one glass of beet juice may contain 500 to 600 milligrams of potassium, creating even more strain on kidneys that are already struggling to filter properly. That doesn't mean beets are automatically toxic for everyone. Moderation matters. Eating small portions occasionally is very different from drinking concentrated beet juice every single day. Pairing beets with calcium-rich foods may also help reduce oxalate absorption. But the real danger begins when people assume that natural always means safe. Have you ever tried one of those detox smoothies thinking it was helping your health? Let me know in the comments, because you'd be surprised how many people are making the exact same mistake right now. And yet, as dangerous as these foods can be, there's something hopeful most people never hear. Because the kidneys also have an incredible ability to respond when you finally start giving them the right foods. After hearing all of this, a lot of people start feeling overwhelmed. They begin wondering if there's anything left they can safely eat without putting pressure on their kidneys. And honestly, I understand that fear. I've had patients sit across from me saying, "Dr. Caldwell, it feels like every food I love is suddenly dangerous." But this is the moment where the story changes. Because not every food harms your kidneys. Some foods quietly help them recover, And one of the most powerful is probably sitting unnoticed in your grocery store right now: cauliflower. Cauliflower doesn't look exciting. It isn't trendy. You won't see dramatic commercials about it or viral superfood detox claims online. But sometimes the foods that heal the body the most are the ones people underestimate completely. Unlike potatoes or concentrated tomato products, cauliflower is naturally low in potassium, low in phosphorus, and incredibly gentle on the kidneys. 1 cup of cooked cauliflower contains only around 170 milligrams of potassium, a fraction of what's hiding in many common comfort foods. I remember a woman named Patricia, a 67-year-old patient whose kidney numbers had been slowly getting worse for years. Every night she ate mashed potatoes because they felt comforting and familiar. When we made one simple change, replacing those potatoes with creamy mashed cauliflower seasoned with garlic and olive oil, something remarkable happened. Within weeks, her swelling started improving, her energy came back, and her lab results finally began moving in the right direction. Science supports what many kidney specialists already see in real life. Cauliflower contains compounds like sulforaphane and antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 major factors that silently accelerate kidney damage over time. In simple terms, it helps take pressure off the body's filtration system while still allowing people to enjoy satisfying meals. And maybe that's the most important lesson here. Healing doesn't always begin with drastic diets or expensive supplements. Sometimes it begins with one smarter choice repeated consistently. But reducing inflammation is only part of the equation, because the next vegetable supports something your kidneys depend on every second of the day: healthy blood vessels and stable blood pressure. And that connection is something most people completely overlook. Your kidneys don't work alone. Every second of the day, they depend on healthy blood flow to survive. So when blood vessels become stiff, inflamed, or overloaded from years of poor nutrition, the kidneys begin suffering quietly in the background. And that's exactly why the next vegetable matters so much more than people realize. I'm talking about red bell peppers. Most Americans think of red bell peppers as nothing more than a topping for salads or fajitas. But inside that bright color is something incredibly powerful for the body. Red bell peppers are naturally low in potassium compared to foods like potatoes or tomato paste, yet they're packed with vitamin C, carotenoids, and antioxidants that help protect blood vessels from oxidative stress. And when blood vessels function better, the kidneys receive the oxygen and circulation they desperately need to stay healthy. I remember a patient named George, a 61-year-old man who came to me exhausted and frustrated. His blood pressure kept climbing, his kidney numbers were slowly worsening, and he constantly felt heavy after meals. What surprised him most was discovering that many of the healthy, tomato-based foods he relied on were contributing to the problem. So we made a simple adjustment. Instead of heavy tomato sauces, he began building meals around roasted red bell peppers, olive oil, herbs, and lighter vegetable dishes. A few weeks later, he told me something I'll never forget. For the first time in months, I don't feel like my body is fighting me after dinner. That's not magic, that's biology. Research continues showing that colorful vegetables rich in antioxidants may help reduce inflammation, improve vascular function, and support healthier blood pressure, one of the single biggest factors in protecting long-term kidney health. And honestly, that's what makes food so powerful. The right choices don't just help you avoid damage, they help your body feel alive again. But there's still one final ingredient left, and what makes it remarkable is that most people already have it sitting quietly in their kitchen right now, without realizing it may be one of the strongest natural protectors their kidneys could ask for. And this may be the most surprising part of all, because the final ingredient isn't rare, expensive, or difficult to find. In fact, it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Most people think of it as nothing more than a flavor booster for pasta, soup, or roasted vegetables. But for your kidneys, garlic can act like something far more powerful, almost like natural medicine hidden inside everyday food. I once worked with a woman named Eleanor, a 64-year-old patient struggling with high blood pressure and early-stage kidney disease. She was exhausted all the time. Her ankles swelled by evening, and despite taking medication, her blood pressure stayed stubbornly high. But one small habit changed more than she expected. Instead of relying heavily on salt and processed seasonings, she began adding fresh, crushed garlic to her meals every single day. A few months later, her blood pressure had improved, her inflammation markers were lower, and she told me she finally felt lighter waking up in the morning. What makes garlic so powerful is a compound called allicin, released when fresh garlic is chopped or crushed. Studies have shown that allicin may help reduce inflammation, improve blood vessel function, and support healthier blood pressure levels, all critical for protecting kidney function over time. And unlike heavily processed flavorings loaded with sodium, garlic gives food richness and depth without placing extra stress on the kidneys. That matters more than people realize because high sodium intake is one of the fastest ways to increase pressure inside the delicate filtration system of the kidneys. Over years, that constant strain slowly wears them down. Garlic helps break that cycle in a simple, natural way. And in the end, that's the truth most people never hear. Kidney disease rarely comes from one dramatic moment. It usually develops quietly through small daily habits repeated over and over again. But the hopeful part is this: small, healthy choices repeated consistently can help protect your kidneys too. And that means the future of your health may depend less on perfection and more on what you choose to put on your plate starting today. What I want you to remember most after watching this video is this: protecting your kidneys is not about being perfect. It's about becoming more aware of the small choices you make every single day. The foods you eat consistently, the habits you repeat without thinking, the ingredients quietly sitting on your plate night after night. Over time, they either help your body heal or slowly push it toward exhaustion. And the truth is, many people don't realize there's a problem until their kidneys are already struggling to keep up. But if you've watched this far, that already tells me something important about you. It tells me you care about your health. You care about your future. And that matters more than you think, because the earlier you start making small changes, the more power your body has to recover and protect itself. So tonight, before your next meal, pause for just a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Is this helping my kidneys or quietly hurting them? That one question, repeated consistently, can change the direction of your health more than any crash diet or miracle supplement ever could. And if you found this video helpful, do yourself and your loved ones a favor. Save this video now so you can come back to it anytime you need a reminder. Because when it comes to kidney disease, awareness can truly become protection. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because every week I share simple, science-based health insights designed to help you protect your kidneys, support your heart, and take better care of your body naturally before serious problems begin. You are not powerless. Your body is always listening to the choices you make, and even small healthy habits can create powerful changes over time. Your kidneys may be silent, but if you take care of them today, they can continue taking care of you for many years to come.